real quick, people need to step back and understand. I saw the bleeding, the Fed. Oh my God, the Fed keeping someone for a year. What about Phoenix? What about Penta? Take your heads and slowly remove them from your assholes. I know it's hard once you get them stuck in there, but you got to understand how the real world works, people. And this is a great example, Nick. Those clauses are put in contracts for guys like Andrade. Why did Andrade, or how did Andrade leave AEW in the first place? Well, they told him not to punch an employee, and he did it because he didn't want to be there. And if Tony had it in his failsafe that if you behave poorly to get out of a contract, we can hold you to said contract. What happened with Phoenix? Not the same. What happened with Penta? Not the same. What Andrade did here was he got his ass fired because he couldn't keep his shit together. And if the company owns him for a year because he couldn't pass a test, well, then that's on him. And all these bleeding hearts out there, the world doesn't work like that. You enter into an agreement, you uphold your end of the agreement. If you don't, tough shit. But, oh, let Andrade go. Suck a fucking egg. What are you talking about?
Well, there's still the whole situation to where the no compete clause is still about to, I would say, essentially get reversed across the board and everything like that of universally. Now it's just kind of being debated, and I think a Texas court that's really hanging it up, from going across the board nationally, at least in the U.S. Of the no compete clause.
You're trying to get rid of it altogether?
That's what's been already kind of thrown out there.
Even in run-of-the-mill jobs, you sign non-competes. I've signed a non-compete because if I work for one company, they don't want me walking across the street to their competitor. And
is that a thing? Well,
yes.
No, you just touched on a real thing. No, hold on. Hear me out real quick. I was agreeing with you. I'm sure you probably have done that. There's not a lot of people, I think, especially that are on Twitter and are wrestling fans, that have ever dealt with a contract that you sign that says no compete.
Yes. And that's a very big thing, especially, for those who really don't know, and this really isn't about me, but, I have a marketing background, I have a sales background. If you go work for a company at a high level, which I have, you sign contracts. So I can't just work for somebody for a couple years and then get pissed off and go to their competitor. I can't work in the industry for 6 months. Sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes it's 8. Sometimes it's 3 months. It depends on your contract, your agreement. It's common practice, not just in wrestling, across the board. So people, I get it. They're running to the internet. And I know the young folk out there especially have this idea in their head of just, the world's all about feelings. And if I feel I should be able to leave, then I should be able. That's not how the business works. That's not how life works. If Andrade was paid good money, and all he had to do was pass the wellness test, then fine. It wasn't bad creative. We can argue about his booking, whatever. That doesn't matter. They let him go. They moved on because he wasn't keeping up his end of the deal. Allegedly. Now we all got to remind. I got to say to everybody, allegedly. All of this is, alleged. We don't know that the WWE did the 90 days. We don't know. Again, when the source is Meltzer, you get a little uneasy. But if somebody would know about AEW getting a non cease and desist, it would be Meltzer, right? Like Tony would be, guess what happened?
Other people like PW Insider, and I think maybe even Sports Illustrated might have ran something with it too. Those are people that are going to look into it, but still.
Yes.
Now, shout out Nick and everybody saying, I love the KJ rants. I think it was, MDB. Talk to him, KJ.
Listen, I just want to set the record straight because I've been getting annoyed all day just watching these amateur lawyers come out and these bleeding hearts of, you should be able to do whatever you want to do. You got to remember, this guy literally punched somebody in the face to get out of AEW and sat at home for months.
Does it not, though, kind of feel like WWE's invoking it after the fact? Now, granted, it's kind of hard to make sure you invoke a 90-day no compete until someone crosses it.
Yes.
But it does kind of just feel such out the blue because he also showed up in a Mexico show and mum was the word on that one.
Right. Now, again, now that might be a little more pick our battles, and we'd rather pick this fight than the other fight.
Is it only a 90-day no compete within the US? So if Tony runs a Canadian show, he can have Andrade on the
Get away
card?
with it? Maybe. We got to check those rules. And again, I don't pretend to be a lawyer. I can only give you my experience, but it's just all these people that just out there like this whole free Andrade are the same people that I'm sure if you thumb through their post history, you'll find like, fuck Andrade, he sucks anyway. We don't care. Now he goes back over and they're like, oh, he's the best thing ever. They're preventing Kenny. They're so afraid of Kenny versus Andrade. What will they ever do?
Is he the first person in history to be with both major promotions, like double time?
Yes. He's the first one to ping pong.
Yeah, volley for serve, WWE, the ball's in your court.
And again, listen, I don't think any wrestler, I saw some asshole out there post like, this is a bad time to be anti-wrestler. This isn't about anti-wrestler. This is about holding your own. If it is a case of somebody got injured and you're holding him against his contract, but you don't plan to use him, I'll be the first one here beating the drum of let him go. I don't give a fuck what company they're in. If they're in WWE and, you know, you're not booking them, but you're just holding them to be spiteful, then let him go. If you're in AEW and like Phoenix, broke his leg, broke his arm on behalf of you, and then you're going to hold those dates against him, well, that's shitty on your part. But if you're going to defend one, you got to have the same energy across the board. And that's my biggest pet peeve is the constant goalpost moving by these moronic people. And I'm trying to be nice about it. I don't know how well I'm doing, but my God, it is so frustrating. You're just going to do this. You're going to hold. I can't believe like he must have legal act. No. If it's in his contract, the lawyers are going to battle it out and they'll probably let him go. They'll probably cut him loose. They'll probably ding him some money. But this idea that, oh, well, Andrade, like it's disgusting. They're trying to hold him for a year. It's not just a guy that moved on or one of the people they've released and they're saying, no, we're going to hold you for a year. No, this is a guy that violated their policy and was released with cause. Therefore, yes, we have the right to hold you for a year because you didn't hold up your end of the deal with us.
Is it still one of those things, and maybe this is the comparable of where people make that bridge to the Ray Fenix and everything of that you're not going to use him anyways. It's not like you're going to turn around and try and re-sign him or bring him back or anything. So now you're just kind of being a dick to be a dick.
Yeah, I mean, I can go there with you, and I understand.
I think that's where some people, that's where the bridge, that's, if you're going to make connective tissue with this, that's where you could find it.
And granted, and I understand that. Now, is there a level of pettiness to it? Probably a little. I'll give you that.
A lot.
But imagine you pay. No, but it's business, man. Imagine you paid someone to build an extension on your house, and 6 months later they hadn't completed that, but they want to go and work on your neighbor's house. Yeah, you're going to throw a shit fit and maybe be a little petty about them over there building a deck for your neighbor when you got a fucking hole in the side of your building.
But do I never? Well, yeah, because I guess I could see your point there too, because I never use that contractor again. But
yeah, fuck that guy. So again, and you know what the argument could be? We had plans for Andrade. We were using Andrade sporadically. We were using him and stuff, but then he started failing wellness tests. So we couldn't use him. So again, it's this might be a legal battle that has to work out. I just advise fans out there, like, before you try and weaponize every little bit of news, at least try and sound somewhat intelligent when you do it. Again, we don't know everything here. And a lot of times when we don't know, we'll tell you we don't know. But this idea that somehow you can just do whatever you want, whenever you want, because that's what my mommy and daddy let me do. We got a timeout if we were bad.